Okay. Well, last week we were talking about a great many things. There were a whole bunch of good topics that came up. But one of the things that came up was the question, I think Kathy asked this, about, well, what is love? And I had intended to make my guidepost this week about what is love, but that is just such a big topic. There's so many things to it. It's an emotion, it's a behavior, it's a dynamic, it's a force, it's lots of things. Love. So we're gonna have to take a running start at that, and just notice that love is a quality that arises within a relationship. That's one of the things that love is. Love is also an emotion itself. It's a set of behaviors, but we're going to focus for this week on relationships. And a relationship is a dynamic thing that arises. We're only going to look at relationships in terms of our relationships with other persons, because we are in relationship with everything. But for the purposes of this conversation, the question is, what is a relationship when I have one with someone else? Now, sometimes we're talking about a capital R relationship, like an exclusive. We're committed to each other. This is what we have with each other is something we don't have with anybody else. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking a small R relationship, but a human relationship, one that we form with another. And it is a loop. It's a dynamic quality that arises. It's something that grows and changes over time. So it's always something that's a bit in flux. But as an entity that's arising, as an emergent property, as a relationship is an emergent property, it emerges out of a set of three things. You know how much I love the law of three. Okay. One of the things that a relationship is, and this is how we typically name the relationship. This is in my relationship with my father, or in my relationship with my boss, or in my relationship. So it's a person, and who the relationship is with is sort of the way we name the relationship. And so we think of the relationship as being mostly about that person. Well, it is about the other person. It's who is the other to me? What do I think of them? What qualities do I see them having? Do I like them or don't like them? What do I know about the other, and what is my emotional response and the judgments that I make about the other? That's one piece of it. But the relationship that I have is something that's constructed with them. So relationships themselves have certain qualities. And we may actually return to this at some point to talk about the different kinds of relationships and the different ways that relationships are structured. And so one of the things that can happen when a relationship doesn't feel right is that we're not structuring the relationship the same way. But the relationship is itself a dynamic quality that we create by the choices that we make in the relationship. So it's who's the other, but it's also, the qualities of the relationship itself. How is that for me? But it's also, who am I in the relationship? Because the I that I am, the way that I show up in my life, is something that is constructed out of the relationships that I form. I'm not the same person in my relationship with my kids as I am in my relationship with my wife. Those relationships call forth different ways of being. So when I'm going to assess the quality of the relationship, or in this case, to the degree to which love is present within this relationship, part of it is I'm asking, how do I feel towards the other? Is this someone that I love, admire, respect, approve of? What is happening in me in relationship with them, in a judgment about them? But it's also what is happening in me, what's arising in me about the qualities of the relationship itself. Because I can think the other person is really awesome, and the relationship that I have with them really sucks. Or vice versa, It can be a great relationship. The other person's not, but we have a good time together, whatever, right? So who is the other? How is the relationship? But also, how do I feel about me when I'm in the relationship? Does this relationship call forth from me a way of being that is helping me grow, mature? Do I feel good about who I am? Or does it make me feel yucky about myself? Does it feel like I've got to be fake in order to sustain the relationship? So, for those of you who want an assignment, Chris, your assignment this week, should you choose to accept it, is to consider what are your most significant relationships. And I invite you to think of what are your 5 most significant relationships. Who do you spend the most time with? Who do you have the strongest feelings about? Whose choices have the biggest impact on you? And then looking at each of these people that define the relationship, your relationship with them. What do you notice about the qualities that you see in them? What do you notice about the qualities that arise in your relationship with them? And what do you notice about the qualities that come up in you when you are in relationship with them? And see if you can distinguish who the other is, what the relationship is like, and who I am in the context of that relationship. See if you can kind of tease that apart. Okay? So I'll see you Sunday evening, all right?